distressed because I am part of the race of people who were brought here as slaves and are now being used to enslave all of America. Actually, I've been teaching for 33 years, and during that time I have seen some major changes in our public schools. Basically, what has happened is that our children are being educated today to become world citizens rather than American citizens. And that is very, very dangerous. Well, I learned that really what it meant was that our children was to not have a value system at all. But most important, am I distressed with the political black movement? I am distressed because I am part of the race of people who were brought here as slaves and are now being used to enslave all of America. And I see this in our public schools. Have all of these groups ingrained in teachers' unions. You have your gay and lesbian commission for your school board and your teachers' union, your what they call African American commission, your Chicano or Mexican American commission, you name it, Native American, and they've divided our people into all of these groups, each with their own agenda, and they're using our children as political pawns to support their agenda. The reason is that they are so busy promoting illegal immigration, but they're considered people of color. And so, as I debated with the head of the NAACP and the Urban League on the issue of Proposition 187, throughout the entire debates, they continue to refer to us as people of color. So again, that's the next name change on the horizon. Now, what does that mean? In our public schools, particularly in Los Angeles, and believe me, folks, it happens there, it's on its way to your communities also. You might identify with some of the programs that I'm going to talk about tonight. They may be coming into your communities under a different name, but they're coming in. For our little black children, they are being told to pledge allegiance to an African American flag, a flag that's just been made up. And in our classrooms, there's also a pledge of allegiance to, I guess, this African American flag. Our children do not know that this great nation of ours is a republic because they don't pledge allegiance to the republic for which we stand. And so they're confused and they don't understand it. Their loyalty is not to their own country. And how has this come about? It's all because of our involvement in the United Nations. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has dictated these problems for us in our public schools because they have dictated the policies and the programs. And you've heard of some of these programs. I just mentioned values clarification. You get them in different names: behavior modification, peer counseling, group counseling, and then, of course, your sex education and your health education, and you name it, AIDS education. Some of the things that our children are being introduced to as sex acts, many of you would never even dream of entertaining or being a part of. Made-up flag, made-up Pledge of Allegiance, made-up culture. Kwanzaa. I happen to have known the man who started this. It came from the top of his head. He formed an organization called US, United Slaves. He and his US followers had a shootout with the Black Panthers in the cafeteria of UCLA where 2 people were killed. He was sentenced for torturing 2 of his female followers. He resurfaced, gave himself an African name, and now he's head of Black Studies at one of our major universities in California. Does that matter? No. Now Hallmark has 15 different varieties of the card. Texaco got in trouble because they would not recognize it as a holiday. And it's made up. What an insult to black Americans. That is an insult to our children. And where is it coming from? It's coming from a concerted effort to divide America. Divide America and also dissolve America. We have the mental breakdown. You have all kind of mental health institutions coming onto our campuses. But can you imagine that our public schools are now in the business of drugging our children? And so after the teacher got them so emotionally involved, the teacher says, now, for class credit, you can join us at the market, neighborhood market on Saturday for a grape boycott. And all you have to do is hold the protest signs. Join us on the picket line. You're going to get class credit for that. Now they're doing it through community service, which is going to be mandated. And it's mandated in some of the school boards. Parents hear about it. They fill up the school boards and protest. Well, the school board members decide they're going to move it down on the agenda. So the meeting started at 3 o'clock. Here it is, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes they go until 9 o'clock at night to wear down the parents. And then when no one's not looking, it passes and it's approved. The fact of the matter is these programs are already approved and ready to be implemented before they're even brought to the parents. We're going in there for our math class. He has these posters of half-naked men in sexually alluring positions, some darn near kissing, and it's so embarrassing we can't concentrate on our math. And I said, well, have you told your parents? Well, as I said, most of their parents are here illegally and they don't want to get involved. And I said, well, have you told the other teachers? And they, yes, but they told us we have to be tolerant. So then I told the principal, you know, if those pictures do not come down, I'm going to the media. And I did, and they came down. But I'm no longer at the school, so I'm sure they are back up. And there are not many who are going to complain because of what happened to me. But it's all kind of programs that's designed to take the child away from the family in terms of its loyalty. That's what that 1962 Act did. There's no such thing as right or wrong anymore. We're the laughingstock of the world because we are not controlling our borders. And for many, many years I wondered why. They want open borders. Because they want America to go from being an independent nation to an interdependent nation. Because they don't teach the Declaration anymore. Because you might have to mention the Creator, or Providence, or the righteousness from heaven. They don't understand the liberty that they have here. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, property. All of that's going by the wayside as long as we remain in the United Nations. Our private property, well, we see how the environmentalists are making sure that we lose that. It takes a village to raise a child. Poor means your pocket's empty, not your mind. Poor children can learn just like any other children if they're taught properly. The reason that they put these labels on our children is because there's a program that they want to experiment on our children with, and there's more money for that program. I registered and became a Democrat. I mean, what else did you know in the black community in the South but being a Democrat? When we tell children that we're going to give you extra points to get into college based upon the color of your skin, we're not doing them a favor. You know, the issue of slavery was answered with the Civil War and 2 amendments to the Constitution. Get over it, folks. It's over. It's behind us. But what we're doing is we're calling for enslaving everyone with these policies that we're coming up with. Our schools have become socialist training camps. And that is why I say to you, there's only one way to change it, and that's to get rid of public education altogether. There is no other way. But they're teaching our children that the only way we'll have peace is through the United Nations. I understand that the United Nations flag is flying in some of these schools. I know in our city council in some areas in Los Angeles, the people are having a fit because they have recognized the CNN flag flying in our council meetings. There's a pledge, I understand now, pledge to the world that's being said. They're going after our children. They have just about taken over. And unless America wakes up and gets strong, and let's have that pioneering spirits of our founding fathers, of those who went before us, who gave us this great nation. This land is your land. There are those whose only issue is abortion. And it's a great issue because a nation that kills its young will not long survive. And there is no reason. There are those who talk about, oh, it's just a little mass of tissue. Don't bother it, and it's life. And they've tried, and they've done the best they could. But again, here you have a school that's working against what the families want for their children. You have a society that every time you turn on the television, whether it's early in the morning, in the middle of the day, or in the early evening, you have graphic sex acts. I don't know if there's a movie made without a graphic sex act.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. And